All right, welcome to yet another Kitchen Sink Microscopy. I'm Eric Rosenblatt, and hey, we'd love it if you'd like and share this video, subscribe to the channel. I don't know. If you don't like it, leave a thumbs down if you want to. It's all good. We could take it.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do with that thumb. I'm Casey Rochford, and you can take that thumb and use it to, push a button to skip to the end where there's going to be some music. I don't know who uses their thumbs, though. Maybe that's all you have is a thumb. Okay. If you lost your fingers in a freak accident and all you have is your thumb, use your thumb to go to the end of the episode, hear the song, and then scroll on back with your other thumb just for shits and giggles. And join us for the rest of the show. Well, what kind of shenanigans shall we talk about tonight?
Ooh, well, it is season 4. And so far in season 4, I think this is the 10th episode of season 4. And we have yet to have a lightning round.
Really?
So
what?
Yeah.
Lightning round.
Yeah, lightning round. Exactly.
Wow. Has it been that long?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think so.
Huh. Well, for those who don't know, I don't know, how could you not know by now? Oh, this is what, 15th one, if you count the live one. And
yeah.
So, what we do here in this little game show format, if you will, is we trade off on the major categories that we have, and we spend 5 minutes apiece talking about them. Each of us trades off on who knows which topic we're talking about, and the very last one we both know because odd numbers. So that's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of fun. Yes. If you haven't seen it before, you'll probably like it. Maybe.
Highly recommended by all 2 people that actually watch.
9 out of 10 doctors watch lightning rounds. They can't be wrong, right?
I want to meet the 1 out of 10. Like,
the one
of those doctors, like,
9 doctors smoked Camels, and there's one that smoked Kent cigarettes or something.
It's probably the doctor I had in Shoreline. He smoked in his office. It's really grody in there.
What?
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're just gonna jump right into the lightning round here.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. The first topic or category, I guess it would be yours.
Yes. Religion.
Okay, what do you got, Casey? I'll start the timer.
This is going to be a good one. Economics is the biggest religion.
Oh, well, I totally agree. And I'd go further to say that politics is also a form of religion, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, when you break it down, religion is really just putting a lot of faith into one thing and never really letting it change.
Yeah.
You're like, it has to be this way, and that's a religion.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, exactly. There's traditions, and you don't want to. Yeah, I'd say. And there's also in a lot of religious systems, there's a faith or belief without any evidence, right? Like,
oh yeah.
All
of economics is basically without evidence because you can't really have evidence for psychology so much. I mean, it's so variant.
Well, it's a little different in economics in that it's a tangible thing you can observe, whereas most religions that I'm aware of, you can't just look up there and there's God, right? There isn't anything to see. It's kind of all internal. Ooh, did I just? Never mind. We'll not talk about that site.
I would say it's still intangible. You can absolutely see the effects of it, but I mean, you could argue that with, standard religion too. Like you can see the effects of prayer, however you want to interpret that.
True.
There's a lot of different angles to look at that, but you could say that there is actually like some kind of cause and effect there. Whether it's sourced how people think it is or not. And I feel the same way about economics because like, things like supply and demand, people think it's so black and white, cut and dry, easy, and just applies in this like one fashion. But it actually is like a huge, like it operates on different levels, on different things. Like people themselves are a supply and demand sort of situation.
Well, sure. And actually, economies are much more than just money. And so in that regard, there are many, many, many tiers and different directions, lots of things kind of woven together. And the fact that actually all currencies are, I guess, in a sense, intangible, and that it's just like, well, somebody, at some point, we all, like, enough people agreed, well, this is what we're going to exchange for like work or goods and services, and it's stuck.
Yeah.
Like, so that does sort of, in a way, I'll agree, based on that there isn't like a fundamental economic system. It's all sort of made up. Like we're making it up as we go along. We're adjusting.
Well, the whole idea of profit is really kind of a strange beast. It's a little bit of a fallacy, really, because if you think about it, like you can't, assuming a finite currency, you can't always increase your money or whatever your chips or shells or whatever. Eventually you're going to lose some. Somebody's going to lose some. People think because of it as
eventually you die.
Well, no, I mean, like, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but it's almost like you can't create or destroy matter sort of argument. Like, you can't have everybody doing well when it comes to an economy, but I don't think it has to be that way necessarily. I think it's just we trap ourselves in this little cage, this religious little cage about what economy should be, and it probably could be so much more sophisticated and fair and like humane, but we kind of let it, much like religion, turn us into like evil bastards.
Well, and just like religion, where the church comes in and dictates things, with an economy, the government comes in and dictates things, and that's how things become unfair. Honestly, as an anarchist, that's I firmly believe that most of the problems come from the government. Like you can see a problem there. Well, shit. That's time. This ought to be. This is definitely going to have to be its own episode. Maybe not like the whole tying religion to economics, but just kind of what we were talking about here.
Yeah. Well, you and I were briefly talking about that idea I had for a new, like a smart currency sort of thing.
Yeah. So, for the viewers, that'll be upcoming. I think we're going to have some kind of crazy multi-tangential dodecahedron of ideas. It's gonna be wild,
and then it's gonna get all meta. And
yep, as it is.
Always does.
It's gonna be a good one.
Well, that was a good segue, because the next category is
economics. So wait, can we keep this up the whole episode? Just segueing right into the next one.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Especially since we don't know what the others do,
maybe I can read your mind. Hold on a second, a mind meld thing, you know. Okay,
my
so
Zoom to your Zoom, your Zoom to my Zoom.
Oh man. Well, so it's my turn now. And for economics, so actually I just thought of this today. I had a different idea earlier, and then today, while driving around fixing stuff, talking to my coworker, we went to Little Caesars, and Little Caesars had a sign that was like, hey, you know, we're going cashless soon, just so you know. And then on the drive home, I was kind of like commenting on that. And then my coworker said, well, that McDonald's right there, the one that he goes to on the way to work for his coffee, he's like, well, they're cash only because their credit card system's been down for days. So they're only taking cash. So I thought, why don't we talk about a cashless economy?
I mean, all in all, I think that's mostly a good idea. There are drawbacks, like, you know, like McDonald's, where their system goes down. You have to kind of have some kind of backup. And if you only accept it during certain times, like, what's the point? So
yeah,
I can kind of see where it's never really going to fully go that way, I think. But, you know, if you operate a business with no cash in there, like, you automatically kind of take away any risk of being robbed, which is kind of nice.
That is a definite benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Well, and that's something actually that ties in nicely. Like all the pot shops, like I know here in Washington, we've had lots of robberies. And in fact, some people have been killed during those robberies.
Because they're cash only.
Cash only, because the federal government, they control banking. So they don't let people take debit and credit cards there, so they have to operate purely on cash,
which is weird because cash goes through banks too.
I know. The thing is, like, they collect the cash and it goes in an armored car or something like that to a bank to be deposited in the bank account of the pot shop, and then they pay their bills from that same bank account. So why isn't, what the hell?
They just have giant bags, but instead of the dollar sign on it, it's a pot leaf.
Yeah.
They're like, this is pot money.
Well, in fact, that's actually a problem in some places where police have been like intercepting armored cars and like basically stealing cash from pot shops, because civil asset forfeiture is still a thing. Because, you know, if they can, well, I don't know, there's just a suspicion that, well, in fact, if you have enough cash, it's automatically assumed that it must be drug related or some crime related thing, and they could just take it, and you have to pay out of pocket to get your own fucking money back.
So marijuana became legal, so you can buy it in the state and use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you can't use credit cards or debit cards to buy it. So it has to be all cash. And now a black market has opened up within the police to launder money and then rob and steal and launder money through pot shops.
If you're not still an or if you're still not an anarchist at this point.
More beer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was looking at something, so I
conjugating verbs in the past and possibly
and transposing things. But you know, I think it's inevitable that eventually things are going to go cashless. But the problem I have is how much government control there is over banking, and how much data collection can be had on your purchasing habits and things like that. And maybe you might want to secretly buy something without anybody knowing about it.
The whole chip thing on the cards, like, that's probably pretty nefarious, I think. And it never freaking works.
Yeah. Like, it's supposed to make it more secure, but it was hacked the first day after it was released. Like, come on.
It's supposed to be quicker. Yeah. Whereas, like, you used to just slide your card like that. Like, oh yeah, that takes a long time. Now you got to like angle it just right, put it in. Don't make it bend too much, or it'll be like,
Yeah.
and you only get to do that 3 times. You have to do it 3 times before you can swipe it.
But
you
then
can't
you
just fail
swipe it
once and be
anyway,
like, fuck
so-
it, I'll swipe it. Then it's like, no, you must insert it.
But then it lets you swipe it anyway. So what's the point?
Right.
Like, what?
You have to do it 3 times.
Put some duct tape over your chip and it doesn't work, and then swipe it. Now you've just like eliminated the need for that. But so one of the problems I have with a cashless economy is the fact that you can't do anything in secret with no cash. When there's a dictatorial banking system that's completely controlled by a monolithic government, you have no way of doing things on your own independent of that without somebody knowing that you've done it. And people are going to be like, oh, but the criminals and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not just criminals that want to be left alone. And I see a very dangerous trend going on if things go completely cashless. If there's not an alternative to FedCoin. Fuck, this is
going to ask a really great question too.
Shit, well, maybe this might actually have to morph into its own episode. Just like, in fact, the lightning round is kind of like a birthing place of new episodes.
Yeah, it's like the laboratory bench.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Before we put things under the microscope, we like run a few bench tests.
Yeah. Like, is it juicy? Like, okay, that's really juicy. We're gonna put that on the barbecue because that's a good one. Oh man. Well, so let's see. I don't know if this necessarily segues into. Well, I mean, yeah, we didn't talk about.
Crypto, no, I think it's a pretty big shift.
Yeah, dead end.
Science.
Yes, science.
She blinded me.
I wish we could throw that clip in.
All right. Well, what the hell do you think is causing Voyager's strange data? I'm sure you've heard of that.
This is new. I have not heard of this.
Oh, really?
I've been following Ukraine so much that I'm kind of like in a bubble.
Yeah. So like 45 years out into space, and all of a sudden it's like sending signals back that it shouldn't be. So it's like they aren't really speculating publicly, from what I've seen yet, about what could be causing that. But something has definitely altered Voyager in some way, or is like between us and Voyager and interfering, perhaps. I don't know, but
maybe. I would imagine that NASA probably their technicians and their scientists and stuff like know how to filter out that noise. And so if there truly is something anomalous, then I'm going to say like there's a high probability that's true. And maybe I don't, there's going to be it's aliens. Like, I don't know about that, but certainly, well, the Voyager probes are like the furthest out things that we've ever sent. So it is kind of our uncharted territory. Like, we don't really know for sure what is out there, the kind of energies, like particles and stuff that is going on outside of our solar system. So I would kind of expect there to be some anomalous readings, I guess. Like, unexpected stuff is kind of expected when you really don't know what's out there.
Like, I want it to be, I don't know, maybe not quite like Star Trek the motion picture, but
Oh yeah,
I want there to be something kind of like, maybe there's an alien species that came across it and is trying to communicate with us.
Mm-hmm.
through it because if you're an intelligent species that comes across something like if something like that flew over to Earth, we'd be like, somebody's watching this thing. We can use it to communicate.
The really brilliant thing about Voyager is the instructions for communication are like printed on the package, like the golden record and all that stuff. Like
the nudes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how
unsolicited nudes.
Yeah. Porn in space. All that nudity isn't necessarily porn. That should probably be something we actually talk about too at some point.
Yep.
I would like to think that as well. And I don't honestly I'm kind of 50-50 in this regard as far as probability goes, as far as whether there are actually aliens in close proximity to Earth. Although Voyager has been transmitting signals for quite a while, it's been alive, and so that's a long time for something going the speed of light, radio signals, to get somewhere and be noticed. So I don't know. I would like to think that. I mean, here on Earth, we have all these like science fiction and action movies, Independence Day and stuff. The aliens are all like bent on like taking over the planet and stuff. And maybe that does speak to the way humans have kind of done things like imperialism and colonialism and stuff like that over the years. But I don't believe that's how every species is. And certainly even humans are not all like that. So I would welcome contact with alien civilizations. Like, man, we think I hope I want to believe, as the saying goes, like
I mean, on the flip side, it is really old tech from like pretty early on in our spacefaring career.
Like really early. So I mean, it could be aging and having some issues, and maybe
that it's lasted 45 years.
That is impressive.
In like 4 Kelvin.
Yeah, that oh damn. That is super impressive. Like, oh yeah. And what I think the mission
hasn't smashed into anything.
No, I know, it's crazy. It passed through the Oort cloud too, so which is where like comets and stuff come from, I think. So all these ice balls and everything, and it just slipped through that. Kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it was supposed to only have like a very short mission lifespan, and it's still going. Both of them are still going. Kinda.
What you mean, kinda?
I mean, kinda. Red Dwarf reference there.
We need to like send a red dwarf out into space. It's like a scaled down model red dwarf, just like flying out there. And when it like gets to 3 million years away, like it does something special. I don't know. Turns around, I guess.
Well, we could actually make that happen. I mean, it's possible to launch your own rocket into space. Like a very small one would be doable without too much expense. And of course, if you engaged the Red Dwarf community and said, hey, we're going to launch a small version of Red Dwarf into space, dude, you're going to crowdfund that shit in a minute.
They can't even like get a Kickstarter for a Lego set of Red Dwarf, and we somehow like put together the money to launch an actual Red Dwarf.
Let's make it happen.
Yes.
Oh man. Okay, so let's see. That was your one, so it's on to me.
Bell ring? I missed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was like about a minute ago now.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. We just
jabber at you.
It's okay. It's Maui time here on KSM. Like we do what we want. It's kind of like whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter.
Such a great show.
Oh, I love that show. Oh my god. Oh, it's so good. Well, anyway, Let's
imagine if we were like guest stars on that show someday.
Oh man,
That'd be
I'd
awesome.
love that. Well, we're pretty good at ad-libbing. That at least is clear. I don't know if we're good at being funny, but we're good at making shit up on the fly.
Hence the lightning rounds.
Exactly. That's my favorite.
So,
Okay, so on to the next philosophy. Yep, that's the next category, and that's me. So, okay. If you could go back in time and give your past self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Find a full-time job sooner. Like,
oh yeah, because you worked in like food service and stuff.
Yeah, and like it was great, and I had a lot of fun and stuff like that, and I couldn't really save money, so I just spent it, and that's that kind of created a lot of problems down the road. Like, I think it would have been better if I had gotten into something that would have allowed me to, build a little bit more of a padding.
Yeah,
just being practical.
Reliable, sensible, dependable, all those other words that end in ibble. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing. But then again, maybe the experience you had with things being kind of less solid and more fluid are things that led you to appreciate a more structured kind of foundation that like if you didn't go through that, I don't know.
I mean, no matter what advice you give your past self, you're going to end up different.
That's true. Well, and your past self isn't even going to like take your advice. Just like parents or mentors, they're going to be like, yeah, bullshit. No, it's different. I'm going to do things differently. Like that doesn't apply to me.
You're old and crypto fascist.
I knew that was coming up. Yep, exactly. Yeah. But I mean,
but what about you? What would you say to your younger Eric?
I would say buy a boat, live on a boat. Like when I had nothing, very little, that would have been perfect. A perfect start.
When I was a cook, I worked with a guy that lived on a boat.
Yeah, lots of people do. Like now that I have a sailboat, I'm like, why didn't I do this when I was in my 20s? Oh my God, it would have been a completely different lifestyle.
And like cheaper to buy, like up front.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and way cheaper to live on too.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're handy, like mechanically inclined, you could do a lot of the work yourself. People consider things like sailboats to be or boats in general to be like money pits, and yeah, it can be, especially if you pay other people to do all the work. Cars can be the same way too. $6,000 to replace a transmission. Yeah.
Man, you know what? I might change my answer and go back and tell myself the same shit, because right around the time I was, I don't know, 18 or 19 or whatever, I'm working with that guy at the restaurant, lived on a boat, and I was like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to do that. And then right around that same time, I applied to see how much money I could get for a mortgage, and it was like enough for a condominium or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm thinking like, oh, I could have just gone and used that to buy a boat instead.
Oh yeah, because like in a lot of live aboard marinas, utilities are like a set rate. Like the costs are much less than a house. Maybe not less than an apartment, but you have the ability in a boat to move from place to place. An RV would also be an acceptable, similar alternative. Buy an RV, live in an RV, boondock, travel the country, travel to continent, like, I mean, what a life. Like, why are, oh God, this goes back into your original thing, like about wasting our lives away to pay the bills and stuff.
Mhm.
Like working for the man, I'm done with that. So yeah, it'd be totally different if I had bought a boat back in my 20s. But then again, I learned stuff.
Trade my Harley for a jet ski.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. I love the whole boondocking scene. I follow a bunch of people, YouTubers and stuff that live that lifestyle, and I think it's awesome. And all these like homeless people that do the same. Oh shit!
Damn.
Well, that's that.
Well,
But I was gonna say all the homeless people that do the same thing, they're living free. We look down on them, but they're free and we're slaves to the system. So who's the smarter one?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the people that are voluntarily homeless definitely probably lean on that as kind of a mantra.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
But anyway,
okay, so
from poor people to not so poor people, my topic is conspiracy theories.
Yes.
And I would posit the idea that Elon Musk is probably a villain.
Ooh, well, it is tradition in comic book and movie lore that the villains are these wealthy people. But then also you've got Batman.
Right.
So like,
but he does things, like a little on the gray side, right?
which I can respect.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's kind of
I mean, he's not 100% on the up and up, but
no. But I mean,
he's just got better intentions and some strong willpower to not let it go too far to the dark side. Yeah.
And some pretty cool tech.
Yeah.
But
anyway, Musk though.
Yeah. Well, I guess I would ask, in the case of Elon Musk, like, what has he done that demonstrates villainy?
Well, okay. So the whole Tesla thing, I recently found out that, I mean, it's been in the news a little bit more and more here and there, where these self-driving cars will crash and stuff like that. But apparently it didn't seem like that happened very often, because it's been reported that Elon Musk has been like making people sign NDAs and just like hushing every little problem that there was with Tesla, so that the overall idea is like, oh, we need to go buy these cars. They're so super cool. And like, this guy's a genius, but he hasn't invented anything. He's just come and thrown money at shit and made more money, And what's his end? Like, now he really wants us to go to Mars. And I'm like, dude, your cars are failing and you're trying to hide it. I am not getting on your fucking rocket.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Now, Yeah, you're right. He really hasn't invented anything, just like Steve Jobs didn't invent anything, and people credit him with all the Apple stuff. Bill Gates didn't invent anything, just bought companies that did the stuff that Microsoft wanted, and they put it all together in a big bucket. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that would necessarily make him a villain. Because and I guess I'm thinking in like comic book movie sort of senses, like a villain. I don't even know where villains get all their money, all these, like
it's not that he's rich. that makes him a villain. It's that, like, it seems there's something suspicious about what he's driving at. I guess.
So my take on Elon Musk is, when he was a little kid, he was a big dreamer, and he made a fortune. And then now, as an adult, he's taking that fortune and trying to realize his childhood dreams. And I can't necessarily fault him on that. Like, I mean, good on him, right? We all would love to do that. The Cybertruck totally looks like something I drew when I was a kid, and I want one so bad. I don't care if it's kind of shite. I still want one because it's just exactly the thing that I drew. And like a villain is somebody who, like, they're pouring all their resources into destructive things. Like, they have a vendetta against society or something, right? Some group of people, whatever it is, it's like Hitler. It's like, oh, I don't like these Jewish people, so now that I'm in charge, I'm just gonna kill them all. That's a villain.
I mean, sometimes, but like, there are also villains who, in their minds, have perfectly good intentions. It's just something that most people wouldn't agree with, or people actually suffer so that it can be realized. But they'll like be like, well, it's for the greater good or something.
Yes, the greater good. Oh my God, you're absolutely right, though, that the best intentions actually yield some of the worst results. That's a lesson I wish more people understood. Keep voting, assholes. Oh man.
I mean, like buying Twitter and stuff.
Like, yeah, that was it.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Well, that could, yet again, could be another episode.
Yep.
Oh, man, this is a gold mine, dude. Every single time. We don't have enough songs to keep up with the episode ideas. Oh shit, we got to start writing some music.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I guess it's my turn now. Ugh. And it's not really a good segue, so yeah, it's a public health and safety is my category there. So do violent video games cause violence?
No.
I agree, but there are a lot of people who think that, like, believe that very strongly. Columbine is a pretty good. Remember, everybody was like, "Oh, well, they played Doom and they made Doom levels of the school, and it was Doom. Doom did it."
I get it. I get where they're coming from. There is like a nugget of truth there, because, that it is kind of glorifying violence, but at the same time, it's also very unrealistic.
Yes.
So
yeah. Wait a minute. Think about it. How is it possible? You have your pistol. You might have like a knife, right? Oh, and then you have your shotgun, your machine gun, your rocket launcher, giant rocket launcher. You got like the BFG 9000 or whatever.
Where were you hiding those?
You have like 100 rounds of ammo for every weapon. How are you carrying that stuff?
Right.
Like, it's not even practical at all.
I love role-playing games where it's like, your bag is full. You can only carry 500 items. It's like, if you're going to put a cap on it, make it kind of realistic.
Well, make it weight and volume based, not item based. It's like, because okay, sure. How about 500, ingots of osmium, right? Like the densest material. Oh, yep. Well, I can carry all those.
Side mission, play Tetris to like fit more shit in your bag.
Well, just get a bag of holding, of course. But I think so. I feel kind of, I get what you're saying, and I agree that there's a nugget of truth there, that certain people might be incited motivated, I guess, by playing violent video games. There's a couple of cases where somebody was a gamer and they're like, hey, what if this is real life? And then he and his friend like went out and did it, like shot up a bunch of people and stuff because they were all into this game. But at the same time, for a lot of people, that playing those games and shooting aliens and zombies and stuff, that's a release that that takes a like that reduces that sort of motivation.
I was just gonna say it's almost like a little pressure release valve for the sociopath in all of us to like jump on Grand Theft Auto and not even do any of the quests and just go shoot hookers and stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And there's another angle that could be had with the CP stuff too that might, I don't want to get demonetized, so I don't want to necessarily bring it up, but being able to fantasize and realize your fantasies in a virtual way satisfies all those fantasies in a way that, well, you don't necessarily feel compelled to go out and do it IRL necessarily.
People watch fights and we never point to that and say that's why he shot up the school is because he watched this guy beat someone else to a bloody pulp and,
like boxing
and cheered like for it and like that's okay for some reason. But when it comes to video games, like I mean, we've said it time and time again, you tell someone not to do something that makes them want to do it. You should be throwing all the violent video games at your kids and be like, get out of your system this way. Well, there's no consequences to that.
There are no consequences and it is harmless. And I think maybe there is a certain understanding level that has to be had because I think because of the fact there's no consequences, some young people undeveloped people might feel like, oh, well, in real life, there's no consequences. I could just translate this over to that. And maybe that's how those kinds of things happen.
Not to be too harsh, but if you're that dense, like your parents need to be taking like extra special care of you. It's not just a video game that's causing that. It's like other unchecked behaviors.
I totally agree. And parents definitely need to step up. Like that is a big thing. Man. Yeah, because I'm not hearing it at all. Oh, well, I'll just have to let you know.
You probably have that automatic gain control on.
I turned it off, but it's because the speaker's very close here. So, man, that's
so many good ones.
I know that actually deserves its own episode, honestly.
Yeah. I was about to go into martial arts and
mental discipline. Because there's so many different angles there. Oh man. You have fencing and stuff, and even the Olympics. Like, come on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess it's on to you now. By the way, anybody still watching right now, throw some comments down there and tell us which of these topics you would like to see turned into an episode. Because we will definitely do it. Yeah.
And if you're just joining us now, we're doing a lightning round. But if you're also just joining us now, it's YouTube. You could just scroll back and watch from the beginning.
Well, you did tell people to scroll with their thumbs, so somebody probably slipped off and now they're here. So hey, welcome aboard.
The first thing I hear is, if you're just joining us.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you're just joining us, the next topic is politics.
Politics. Oh yeah.
Now I hear that in my head when we say categories.
Oh.
That little thing up there. They go, yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. So
there's a thing up there and a thing up there and down there and maybe over there too.
Things
It's
all
all over. We got it on all four corners.
We need a Muppet that like has like 6 arms to point things.
There's the DP, but has anybody had the QP? Like we're hit on all four corners here.
Trying to count the holes.
How many holes you got on your body anyway? Anyway, back to KSM. Yeah.
Yes. Politics.
Yeah.
All right. People need to learn presidents have nothing to do with gas prices.
Oh yeah, I did that. Like I remember those stickers. Yeah, like and the presidents don't really have a lot to do with anything at all, honestly. Like all the stuff people say, oh well, this person was president when that happened and this happened and this change occurred. Well, it's more complex than that. They're not God.
Every 4 years, half the country is blaming the president for gas prices,
or giving them credit for something that they had nothing to do with.
Yeah, unemployment, like creating jobs and all this shit. And it's like, what? How? Show me how.
Yeah. Now there could be like very specific things that a president could do that might influence things, but it's not everything. Like all the good and bad things that happen during a presidency aren't connected with the president necessarily.
Yeah, that'd be like trying to redirect a river like single-handedly.
Mm-hmm.
You might affect how it's flowing, but you alone and quickly, no. Everything our presidents do has like this, that affects things, has a protracted effect before it really like takes hold and becomes noticeable.
Well, and it's also built on the actions of past presidents and past Congresses and whatnot. Or your version of it, whatever.
First 100 days, here's what I accomplished, but it's actually just leftover from the last.
That's the momentum from the last guy that like, yeah, it's kind of nonsense. And it really, I think it's harmful because people tend to hyper focus on the president as being like the end all be all, akin to a god. I mean, that's why, or a king or something like that. And that's why I say politics is a lot like religion too. That people believe, oh my God, if my person is in power, all the things will be better.
Oh, you're right. It's kind of like the villagers saying the crops died because the gods are angry. It's like, our gas prices went up because the president did something bad.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there could be, it is possible for one ill-fated decision to make a big impact. And certainly small things do happen, but there are more players. Like this is a play that you're watching. By the way,
gas prices are all over the world, and they're all going up. So it's
exactly.
It's not our country.
The whole thing is all the world's a stage, and we are merely players, right? Like there are more actors on the stage than just the main lead, the president, right? There's all kinds of supporting cast. There's a bunch of crew in the shadows, hiding around, moving stuff. Like there's a lot of people who influence what is going on. Like,
and there's non-people such as the economy, where it's like, that's that's like the huge factor in gas prices. And all the religiosity behind that, like, it has to keep going up in price. We can't possibly take a loss. So, like it's that kind of religiosity that I think drives prices up. Like, I think there's an element of religion that actually causes inflation. Going back to our our first
I know.
topic. Yeah.
Well, tie it all together, wrap
Yeah.
a bow around it, that kind of thing. Well, and I was just thinking this today, that all these, at least in the US, these spikes in gas prices have gone up and then they've gone down and then gone up again. But each time it's like $1 more than the time before. Remember, like $2 was crazy high. Then $3 was crazy high. Then, like, 2008-ish or whatever, it was like $4 a gallon. Everybody's like, oh my God. And now it's $5, fucking $6. I filled up a tank for my work vehicle. It was $128 to fill the tank. It was $6 a gallon. Well, $5.99, whatever that means. Well, mic drop. Boom.
I filled up my Harley the other day, $20. And I sat there thinking to myself, my 77 GMC van cost $20 to fill up back when it was 89 cents a gallon.
Now I'm thinking, like, my scooter holds like a gallon and a half. So it'd be like $8, maybe, at like the expensive place to fill up. And I can go like 100 miles on that. Wow. Buy a scooter. Yeah. If you want to save some money. Well, probably not a good idea in Washington because all the rain, like you were just talking about earlier. Oh man, that was a good one. So whose turn is it now? I guess it's mine.
It would be you.
And that would be Tomfoolery.
Well, my name's not Tom. Is your name Tom?
No, it's Foolery.
Wow.
So together we are Tomfoolery.
Wait, which one's Tom?
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Casey Foolery.
I just kind of shove things in a box and shake it up and see what comes out. Okay, so for Tomfoolery, let's see. Hold on, I might need a little more beer for this one. Yeah. Okay. So, would you?
Goodness me, I still can't believe these second quarter numbers for Next Generation. They're incredible.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
would you?
What?
You know.
No, I don't know.
Yep.
Well, would I what with who though?
Well, there's kind of actually
Or what?
a sensible point behind this. To those who don't know, there was an ad for Star Trek TNG where these, I guess,
Nerds.
office people were kind of talking about the ratings for Star Trek, and they had the Klingon women, the Duras sisters up there with their titty shirts, and talking about like, hey, would you, so I kind of want to think a bit or discuss about like, well, would you procreate with an alien? And then also, would say like a human / Klingon child be even possible?
Okay, so the second one, no, probably not. It's really hard to. I mean, you look at donkeys; they're the product of a mule and a horse, but donkeys are not viable offspring. They can't have offspring of their own, and those are fairly similar animals, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much no, like half human, half Klingon would never actually be a thing.
Well,
would I have sex with an alien? Yeah, probably.
Oh,
I mean, if
yes,
if there was some chemistry and we both liked long walks on Saturn's belt,
is that,
and of
like,
course if we loved each other,
is that like a metaphor for something? Okay, I'm gonna like,
that's a sexual possession. Long walk on Saturn's belt.
Well, if it isn't, we should make it one.
That'll be fun
for when the aliens come. I'm down to like get with a few alien chicks. Yeah, who cares if you can't have kids? I don't want kids anyway. So
we should do like our own little fanfic Trek show about Kirk and Riker going out like as wingmen for each other and trying to pick up alien chicks.
Orion slave girls.
Blah blah blah, time travel so they can be in the same period of time, but then a bunch of sex with alien chicks.
Yeah, I totally would.
Would you watch it?
Oh man, and to some extent, I also want to like bring up the concept of like furries and others and non-human entities that people get sexually aroused by. I get it. Like I do too. I might have fantasies about robot girls. So when that becomes a thing, oh yeah, sign me up.
Now I'm thinking of that episode of Red Dwarf. Getting a double Polaroid. Yeah, no, that's I mean, sexual attraction is what it is. Like the assigning diseases and shit like that seems a little weird to me. Like, who are we to pick and choose what is like healthy sex?
Oh man.
I mean, outside of consent, because like consent is like a whole thing, right? But
it's imperative, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like, that person likes feet or whatever, and it's like, well, if I'm not into that either, but if they are, whatever.
Yeah, I get it, and I'm like totally cool with it. Like, though there is a thing called consensual non-consent.
Yeah.
Some people like that. Not going to say that I do, but I do. Yeah. Yeah, whatever floats your boat. Honestly, I don't really have as long as no one's being coerced or forced into something. Like, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just getting juicy. Damn it,
juicy.
And I'll just have to take care of it after we record. Oh man. Okay, robotsex.com. Oh man.
Well,
I guess it's on to the last one. Man, it's already the end.
Wow, that sucks. I still got beer.
Yeah, I got 2 beers here. So
well,
we'll just have to make this a good one.
Yeah. So in current events, this is one we both know. There's quite the entertaining trial in the media right now. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to talk about this because of what I recently went through, courts and all that stuff, and differing kinds of abuse and stuff like that. And I'm really glad that this is being televised and shared on social media. Like, people are opening their eyes to the fact that men can be abused as well. And like, on my level, like, that shit doesn't get noticed. And so judges just do what they do to get reelected, and then you get screwed over. Johnny Depp's lucky in that aspect, in that he's a celebrity and everyone's watching. But also, like, I want to point out to people, like, and I'm kind of like stealing the whole topic here, but like her mannerisms and stuff, like how she's faking things, like blowing her nose and like posing for pictures and like remembering she needs to be sad and like really putting it on. And
dude,
I saw all that happen in court.
Dude, remember my dog stepped on a bee or whatever? Like, oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. It's obvious, like, bullshittery. Only everyone is seeing it and being like, how do people think they can get away with this? But they do, like, all the time.
And you're right. Like, Johnny Depp is lucky that he's well known.
I mean, not lucky he went through that, but
no shit. And I mean, depending on circumstances, that could have been really, really bad for him too. It's just fortunate that the Herd's team is kind of like a clown car.
Yeah. Yeah, because it would be really hard for him to be like kind of in the winning position as it
by
appears
default
so far. Yeah.
Well, and that's unfortunate, because we should, as people, human beings, kind of take the neutral stance and analyze things objectively, right? But there's this kind of like, oh, well, it's a guy, so obviously the guy must be the bad guy.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
And well, it's not always the case.
And that's what people need to see. Like I was a victim of legal abuse, you know, and there is that guilty until proven innocent. I mean, it even happened to Johnny Depp. Like, they kicked him off of the Pirates of Caribbean franchise or whatever. And I guess they're trying to say that, oh, it wasn't because of that, but it's like timing, cause and effect, you know, like
it was
probability
because of that. Like,
come
on.
That's exactly why I hate at-will employment, because you can fire anyone for any reason you want, discrimination or otherwise, and you'll get away with it. And Disney did it right out in the open, and they're like, prove it. Well, you can't. How do you prove what someone's thinking? You can't.
That's a good point. Huh.
That's not something for courts to decide. Like, intent and stuff like that it's really subjective stuff. Obviously.
Yeah, unless we had like mind reading machines. But the problem I have with a lot of this is it's kind of like taking a default stance. Like, well, if it's a woman, she must be the victim. And if it's a guy, especially like a powerful and famous guy, he must be the aggressor. Well, it's pretty clear, like, to anybody watching the proceedings, and I've been watching very minimal amounts of that as an escape from the Ukraine stuff. But what I've seen, it's like, that's pretty damning for Amber.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp is squeaky clean in that regard. Well, I mean, he's not like a perfect person, but
having been in those situations, domestic violence and stuff, being the victim, you have to do something. You have to say something at the very least. Like, you can't just sit there and take it and get whipped to a pulp, because that'll break you so much faster. Like, if you're not standing up for yourself, what's the point? Like, why are you even going to court? Like, why not just be like, yeah, whatever, just throw me in jail. I guess just because I have a penis, I deserve it, you know? Like,
well, and that really sucks, because standing up for yourself gives you like consequences that you don't deserve.
It's pretty much illegal to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, as
like,
a guy,
very few exceptions.
As a guy, yeah.
I mean,
it's sad.
Yeah, in a lot of cases. I mean, even the 2A argument, you know.
Oh, Well, that's time. That oh man, this well, oh wow, we almost got into firearms there too.
Wow. Yeah, that was a good one.
This went deep. Shit. And I haven't even cracked the fourth beer. Shit. Well, that was a good one.
But we did break the fourth wall.
Oh man.
Oh, that was an excellent lightning round. If you'd like to check out some others, I'm sure you'll see the little links at the end here with the awesome song that's fading in on the breeze.
I hear it.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine.
No, I was thinking Candle in the Wind now. But yeah, I'll go with your song. Oh, man. But it's not going to be any of those. It'll be one of ours. Because, yeah, like playing other people's music, no, not a thing. Oh, man.
At least not for our channel. It's totally fine for plenty of other channels.
I don't know how they get away with it.
Whatever. Thanks for deep sink diving with us in the lightning round 15.